Hey guys, it's Clint. I got to make a kind of a heavy video today. After thinking a little bit about the swatting of Edwin Boyette and reflecting also on the swatting of Peter Simeti, it makes me wonder who is next to be swatted and why has the tactic gone here. Now, I have no idea really who's making the phone call. I have no idea if this is the same person for both incidents or if it's a different person. I don't know that we'll ever know, honestly. I hope the police find whoever has done it. I just don't know if that's going to happen. The way I see it, though, there are three options. Option one is, I think, the first knee-jerk reaction you have, and that is anti-Comicsgate. And I think there's a high likelihood that somebody, at least influenced by anti-Comicsgate, would call the police and file a false report and send armed police officers at somebody and have them be thinking that they're going to be stopping some extremely dangerous situation. So that's one. Two, it could be just a random person. I mean, anytime that you are, I want to say a public figure, but let's be honest, Edwin Boyette is not considered really in the big picture a public figure. Not even Peter Simeti. I don't think he rises to the level of fame that you would consider a public figure. Obviously, they're out in the public, their names are there, and there are many people that know who they are. But we're not talking about Brad Pitt here. We're not talking about Kanye West. We're not talking about people that have they're just massively famous. But even on the internet, in these small circles, when you start putting yourself out there, and I don't even have that many subscribers, but I'm finding this more and more that I get contacted by a lot of people, and I think those people are far and wide friendly, and they just want to make contact for good reasons, and that's good. Having said that, there's always the chance that there's somebody that just takes things a little too far, or they have, who knows what's going on in their psyche, but they think it might be funny, they think it might be just a way to shake things up, or they want to have some control over your life, I guess. So that's option two. It's just somebody, and they're not politically motivated, they're more, I don't know, misguided, and I don't know, they just making a bad decision. Option number three, and I hate to bring this up, but I think this is something that's worth talking about. And that is if somebody within Comicsgate is trying to stir things up, and so they're picking martyrs in Comicsgate. I really, really hope this is not happening. I have absolutely no evidence for this. But those are really the three options that I see, and that would basically encompass anything. I have no idea, other than those three options, who could be swatting and what might motivate them. Now, because I'm making videos every single day and I'm reading through a lot of this stuff and I'm on Twitter all the time and I'm dealing with the conflict all the time, to me it begins to feel actually like I'm getting numb to it. It's become more of like a business or, just a game. And honestly, I haven't been getting super outraged over things. It's been more like, oh, this has happened. Obviously, swatting's awful and it should be condemned. But I don't know. I just get a slightly different feeling about it, which is really sad. I don't want to be numb to this kind of stuff. And I think because of that, this becoming so mundane to me, I forget that there are people out there who, for them, this isn't about making a comic book. It's not about building an online following or networking with people and, making comics great again. There are genuinely people out there who are doing this because of their ideology. I think this is important to remember. It doesn't take very many ideologues to really reveal the truth here. And if you look at swatting and you just search it on Twitter, it is everywhere. Swatting is used as an intimidation tactic, and it's really sad that Comicsgate is, all of these tweets here are Comicsgate related. Bleeding Fool asks the questions, what is inspiring swatting attacks on comic fans and publishers? That's a good question, right? It's just comics. We want to believe it's just comics anyway. This is certainly beyond it, though. And I think a big part of this is ideology. Remember, there are people all over that are, if you hold on to an idea long enough and you become radicalized around that idea, people are capable of doing some extreme things. And that's because they think that they're doing something that's right or good, or however their logic ends up getting them there. People are capable of doing crazy things because of their strong political belief system. Now, I'm not pointing the finger at any one person because, again, I have no idea. I really don't. I hope the police find out. I don't know. What I do know, though, is that it only takes a small group of people, and in this case, it could only be one person that is so deep into their ideology that they're willing to harm other people because they think it's going to further their cause or make the world, quote unquote, a better place. So I'm looking at Antifa here only because I think that it's a great way to highlight exactly how radicalization happens and some of the mindsets. This is how people justify swatting.
Artists, moms, ordinary Americans, as well as anarchists. But fighting is only part of what the Antifa does.
So everybody had a good day at school today?
These Antifa members battle white supremacists using cameras and computers, outing neo-Nazis on social media in a process called doxing.
Yo, Tubbs, fat boy!
Jessica and Alex capture white supremacist rallies on video, then post identities of the participants online, outing them to their friends and co-workers.
Okay, so yeah, this sounds interesting. Interesting. I know everyone hates when I say this. I don't like white supremacy. I don't like any kind of racial nationalism. That's my stance on things. So I'll get that out of the way right now. Having said that, you are allowed to have political opinions as long as you're not, breaking the law, as long as you're not hurting anybody. It is interesting to me that this CNN journalist back here looks super pleased about this whole doxing thing. Also, just outright owning the term doxing, and that is, what you're doing to people to make them lose their job and whatnot. I'm not sure how that changes people. How does that sway somebody from being a neo-Nazi or a white supremacist? If you think about the tactics here, you're just trying to punish somebody that you disagree with. Even if I disagree with them too. It doesn't matter. You're just trying to punish them. This is a problem. If you wanted to change their mind, let's say you think they're wrong and you believe so strongly that they're wrong, why would you not try tactics to change people's minds? That would certainly be far more effective. And it's not like that's never happened before. There's stories everywhere of people that used to be extremely racist, and I'm not using that term lightly, but people that are actually neo-Nazis or Klansmen that have changed their mind because they've seen things from a new perspective. They talk to people and they realize that they were wrong. That happens all the time. So doxing is not helpful.
What is doxing?
It's ascertaining an individual's identity and personal information, and then engineering social consequences for that person.
Engineering social consequences. So I've thought a lot about the anti-Comicsgate trolls that are on Twitter, and I still think that there are, there's a couple paid ones out there, but we shouldn't look past the likelihood that there's people out there that are just driven by ideology, and so they want to engineer social consequences. They're there to punish people
for being out in the streets as a white supremacist and making threats against minority communities. You do not get to be a Nazi on the weekend. If you're a Nazi on Saturday and you're marching with a torch, you're a Nazi all week long.
So you already know who he is. What's the point of taking this video?
His friends.
His friends.
Who have you doxed?
The most obviously high-profile one was Mr. Corey Cliff.
So I don't know exactly about the specific instance they were looking at the video, but the friends, they already know who the guy is, but they want to get his friends, so this is guilt by association, that kind of stuff. Okay, so the problem here is when you shift, if you can define anybody as a Nazi, even if they deny it wholeheartedly, even if they're so against any of the ideas that neo-Nazis espouse, you can still call that person a Nazi and engineer social consequences. Do you see how crazy and radical this sounds?
Corey Klicko was a member of the neo-Nazi political party called the National Socialist Movement. That is, until Jessica outed him in this story she posted online.
What happened immediately afterwards was he dismantled his chapter, he stopped organizing, he canceled his events, and he publicly disavowed Nazism. He said he disavowed hate.
Klicko couldn't be reached for comment for this story.
We meet a lot of Antifa who are...
Okay, so do you think that this individual actually disavowed it? I mean, do you think he changed his ways because of the engineered social consequences? I have a hard time believing that that is something that would actually work. But what it does do is it enacts revenge, I guess. So what happens if your target, let's say if you're an ideologue, far left ideologue, and you have a target and you've decided that they are a Nazi or really someone just undesirable. Let's say that you've doxed them or you have engineered your social consequences and it didn't work, right? What if maybe some of those people are comic book creators or publishers or whatever they might be, and no matter what you have said to them and tried to shame them out of what they're doing or any of their opinions, which, by the way, are not actually Nazis, what do you do then when it doesn't work? This is what I worry about, is that you take it a step further. And if you can scare the person into silence or scare them from, making comics, I don't understand what your goal is here. So sorry if this video got a little rambly, but I think has been a good reminder for me, because I wanted to really think about who's doing this kind of stuff and what's motivating them. How could we stop? Is there any reason that could be shared? I mean, can we make some kind of peace and live and let live? Unfortunately, the truth is it only takes a few people out there who are so into their ideology that they're willing to dedicate their lives to ruining the lives of others, as long as they have decided that those others are undesirable people or, frankly, Nazis. So let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below, and like, subscribe, ring the bell, all that good stuff. I will see you next time.